for another round of tingles. ASMR tingles. This will be the third and final video where I recall what my past apartments look like. My apartments used to live. And so in this video, I will describe what my third apartment looked like. So before we begin, this is Akshan. He is going to hide in this video. So if you find him, comment down below the timestamp. So let's start. So if we recall from my last video of the apartment series, I had a trip to Calgary in 2007 at the very end of it. And after that trip, that is when I moved into my last apartment in 2007. So, it's my last apartment and my second favorite apartment based on my experience there. So, now I'm going to describe what the apartment looked like. So first off, the apartment is a little bit similar to the Barclay apartment, where I described in the last video of the apartments, and except for a few things. And so, when you first walk into the building, my apartment is in the first floor, if I could remember. First floor, whereas my previous apartment was in the third floor, so it was more on the ground level. And so you go into the apartment unit, and just like the second apartment, there is the living room. You could see the living room, directly the living room, and the living room. The doorway was a little bit was a diagonal doorway, unlike the other one. So in this living room, at the opposite side of where it came from, there was no balcony, but just a regular window. And at the opposite corner was my computer. And that computer is where I first played some video games like Roblox and some other game, RuneScape. I used to play that for a little bit, but I quit RuneScape. So, and that is where I had a few couches and a big box TV at the living room. And opposite to my computer is a white study table where my mother used to study. So, just like the other apartment, if you turn left from the front door of the unit, there's the hallway, and very similar, there's the washroom at the left in the middle of the hallway, and to the right is the doorway to the only bedroom. By the way, the washroom was the place where I had the least memories, so maybe it was because it's a washroom. So I'm going to skip the washroom because I don't remember a lot of what the washroom looks besides that it just has a toilet. What do you expect from a washroom anyways? So skipping over the washroom, let's go to the bedroom. Like again, the bedroom is to the right in the middle of the hallway. And the bedroom was pretty pretty self-explanatory. It had the same layout as my second apartment, except that the ceiling has no glow-in-the-dark stars, unlike the second apartment. And so this bedroom, the only thing special was that then we had a night table at the very left, and I remember an accident that I had where I was playing with water balloons, and I somehow put some water balloons on the night table, and the night table was warm enough that the balloons somehow popped and water spilled all over the place. There was water everywhere, and yeah, that's one thing I remembered. And the night table, by the way, was the same night table that I carried over, and it's the one that's in my room that I am right now, in my room that I am inside right now, recording this. You know, when you have the same piece of furniture for quite a long time, especially across different apartments, I'll call this a historical piece, since I had it when I was even born. Okay, so outside the bedroom, you go back to the hallway from where you came from. The bathroom is in the left, and your bedroom is in the right. My bedroom was in the right. And so you go down to the hallway, and like I said, it's very similar to the second apartment. The kitchen was a kitchen that's laid out horizontally. So comparing that between the second apartment and this apartment, the kitchen here in the third apartment is horizontally laid out, that the long end is to the right. So you actually have to turn right to go to the other end of the kitchen. And once you turn right, you could see the doorway to the balcony. And yeah. And by the way, in the kitchen, the table was in the corner of where you came from. So if you're at the hallway, you could see the table, the dining table, in the kitchen area. And that was the dining area, since there was no official dining room of that. It's kind of like a dining room and a kitchen combined in one unit, in one room. So like I said, if you go into the dining room, you see your table, you turn right, and you can see the sink and the counter of the kitchen, and the doorway to the balcony. And the balcony has a fire escape like the second apartment. But since this apartment was on the ground floor as opposed to the second apartment, you just go down one flight of stairs, and you'll reach the backyard. And so the backyard was one of the most memorable places that I could recall, because the backyard kind of changed a little bit. And so, to give you a layout, the backyard was big because the backyard is shared between multiple apartment buildings. So there's our apartment and we have the backyard, but there's a big area that's to the right of the backyard, and that's shared amongst other apartment buildings. So other people are sharing the same backyard. And at the end of the other side is a little park-ish, a little tiny park where there's like a little kids area that with a slide and some other toys that's owned by another apartment owner, I would say. In this backyard, if you look to the left of that backyard, it kind of changed. Back then, there was a giant truck that was obstructing parts of the backyard area. And that truck was sitting there for like a few months, just sitting there for a few months. Right when it moved in, it was there for quite a long time. At least in the span of the time I was there. And the truck was very big. It just like it was there. And I had cracked quite a bit of jokes, like why is this truck sitting there for no reason. And over the course of my stay there, that truck was gone at one point. Maybe the owner decided to drive it away, or someone decides to tow that away, but I do not know. So eventually, that truck there disappeared. So it was gone it was there for quite a while, and then one day it was gone. And so what else changed was that behind the truck, the area where the truck was sitting, was this giant tree. It was a very, very big tree. And it's kind of almost looks like a tree that you find in the tropical area, but it's not quite a tropical tree. It has those leaves that drop down like braids, like hair that droops down over. And it was humongous. It was really, really big. And at one point, almost before I moved out, the tree was cut down. And I always liked to see that tree when I was playing in the backyard with a driveway. And then one day the tree was cut down and I don't see it anymore. And like, there was once a tree there and it was gone. And I'm like, what kind of changed? And then that tree disappeared. No, it was cut down. So yeah, if you go left from where you exit out of the apartment through the back door, down the stairs, if you go left, you will see the driveway where there was a couple of garages and a lot of cars parked there. And this driveway is shared, like I said, is shared between tenants of the apartments. And I always used to play there a lot and play little games with my neighbors. And that was it. And at one point, we had a water balloon fight with my neighbors. And I happened to get really, really wet. So that was it for that part. And then somewhere in July 28th, 2010, I moved out of that apartment. Moved really, really far out of the big city into a suburban city. Into a house that I currently live right now. And that's where I still live today. As of August 21st, 2022. This will conclude my apartment recalling ASMR series, where I recalled what my past apartments looked like. I hope this video has gotten you the tingles. If you have gotten your ASMR tingles, please drop a like down below. It'll be greatly appreciated. Next time, I'll try to do another coding ASMR series, as well as another backrooms level where I describe one of the coolest levels of the backrooms. So, stay tuned for the next ASMR video.